Genius Brain listeners, this podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. Are you stressed at work? Aren't we all? Did you know that workplace stress is now one of the top causes of declining mental health, with 61% of the global workforce experiencing higher than normal levels of stress? A holiday is great, but it isn't a long-term solution to stress, especially from work. So don't forget that therapy can help you navigate whatever challenges that work day or any day might bring. And you could do that with BetterHelp because guess what? It works with an App Store rating of 4.9 out of 5 based on over 1.7 million client reviews. I have used it and it is fantastic. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/genius. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/genius.
If you're not a comic book fan, it might piss you off because you're just like, what the where did this come from? Story-wise, it doesn't make sense.
I think there are rules now out there. It's like we don't need to see Uncle Ben die. We don't need to see Batman's parents die. We don't need to see Superman come in through with a spaceship.
Yes.
Like the origin story shit is kind of like...
We ready to roll? Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Genius Brain Podcast. I'm your host, David So, and we have the co-host. We have Ed Park, VP, everybody. Going to go right into... First of all, let me address this real quick. Somebody was like, oh, why do you only do 30-minute podcasts, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to watch anymore. It's like, if you write that comment, do you think I'm going to change it?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm so sorry. I'm never going to do this again. No, it's not going to happen. I fucking had a kid. Right?
Yeah.
I don't live in Los Angeles anymore, and I'm doing it because I enjoy it, and I enjoy these 30-minute podcasts better. They're a lot more concise, and they're a little more straightforward. I don't have to fill in air gaps. And listen, if I only had one podcast, you guys would get 2-hour episodes.
Yeah.
Right? But I have 3, so it pays the bills. I got to do what I got to do. And plus, I think people like the shorter ones too. I think obviously when you're driving, you want it to be longer.
Yeah.
But look, once we figure things out, we get things situated out, I could have longer podcasts. But right now, I got to do what I got to do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like the commentaries, somebody wrote too, I'm pretty sure it's a troll, but it was just so funny. It made me laugh so hard because it was the episode where we're talking about how my neurodivergent father, where he gets so obsessive, it pisses him off.
Yeah.
Somebody wrote, there's a long diatribe. He's just like, dude, fuck you. This is stupid. Why would you split screen it? I'm never watching this podcast. And I'm like, oh my God. This podcast is about you. You're my dad.
Yeah.
It's like,
why aren't you doing the podcast the way I want you to do it?
Oh, you're my dad. And I was like, dude, you and my dad would be best friends. He was like, yeah, your dad wouldn't do a split screen like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, this is so fucking funny. I was like, holy shit, you're my dad.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you split it when you could just have one wide angle? It's like, what's the difference?
You can argue that that's a lot of comic book movie fans, right? To be like, that's not my Superman.
Yeah.
You know,
so
whatever.
So we just, Ed told me to go watch the Super, which I already had in the Rolodex that I was going to watch anyways. And interesting, right? Because I've read a lot of criticism and I read a lot of love from it. And I kind of understand both sides of things. I actually really liked it.
I fucking loved it.
I thought it was great.
And hands down, best Superman movie.
And I want to address this too. It's so interesting when I see older people who have watched this Superman who kind of go through their nostalgia phase and they compare it to like these other Superman films, right? Where they talk about, that's not Michael Keaton. I was about to say Michael Keaton, but
Richard Donner.
No. Who's the
Christopher
Reeves? Yeah,
Richard Donner was a director of those.
Exactly. I was about to say Wheelchair Man.
Oh no!
So let's not go that route, David. So
dun, 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 dun. Anyway.
Yeah. So the Christopher Reeves, and they had the one with Terry Hatcher, that whole series T. And it's funny when I see other people compare. They go, "Oh, but it's not like the Christopher Reeves one." I was like, "It is infinitely better."
It's so much better.
You're basing it off of your nostalgia. And they go, what it did for the time. I hate what it did for the time arguments, right?
Yeah.
You have to compare for what it is. Even some of the most shitty Supermans, visually, it's way better than what we had back in the day.
Yeah.
You basically had a dude that, you could have put him in a gay pride parade and nobody would have bat an eye. Get the fuck out of here.
In 1978, it blew people's mind with the way they filmed Christopher Reeves flying in fucking space.
Yeah.
Dude, that was another thing. Yeah. I understand like how that is all inspiring, but then at this point it's like we get those pictures from NASA.
Yeah. Also too, it's like saying, dude, the Lou Ferrigno Hulk.
Yeah.
It was just a regular
Stop
guy.
saying that.
I went back and I saw the clips because I remember watching it as a kid.
Yeah.
It's literally Lou Ferrigno just painted green.
That's what it is.
It's just a bodybuilder that's green.
Dude, have you seen when Lou Ferrigno like lactates or something?
No.
I don't know what the condition is, if steroids or something, but I think he was at some event and he's wearing a shirt and his fucking nipples are wet.
What the fuck?
What the fuck is going on?
Lou Ferrigno on King of Queens was just my favorite because he just played Lou Ferrigno.
Oh, he's just
He was a
buff dude.
bodybuilder. That was the neighbor. And he had like, he was like in like 8 or 10 episodes of King of Queens. But anyways, just to get back to the film, like, I think that, and I was talking to John about this earlier, was that one of the things that I think that I liked personally that I didn't feel was necessary, just because there's so many reiterations when there are new directors, new casting, they didn't have to go through the origin story.
Yeah.
Right? I think I'm a little tired now because with these comic books, right? If you're not a comic book fan, it might piss you off because you're just like, what the fuck? Where did this come from? Story-wise, it doesn't make sense.
I think there are rules now out there. It's like we don't need to see Uncle Ben die. We don't need to see Batman's parents die. We don't need to see Superman come in through with a fucking spaceship.
Yes.
Like the origin story shit is kind of like, we get it now. We don't have to redo the origin story.
It's a part of pop culture and like cultural zeitgeist now. We know what this is.
The way this movie started felt like it's a part 2 of a movie like franchise we didn't see before.
It smacks you in the balls.
It just starts.
Yeah.
It gets going and you're like, okay, so it starts off and it starts with Superman losing his first battle.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting way to just like get going. Right? And the way the movie presents itself is so much more different than every other Superman. And I can only say it in a way where it's like, do you remember in Kill Bill Volume 2, where the bride is finally sitting in front of Bill, right? And then he shoots a fucking dart in her knee. And then he starts going on this talk about who she really is, right? You're really a killer. You're not a mommy, suburban whatever.
Yeah.
You're really a killer. And he made the analogy that Peter Parker's alter ego is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right? Same with Batman, yada, yada, yada. Superman's alter ego is Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Superman is Superman.
Yeah.
Right? No matter what. And his philosophy, I guess, Quentin Tarantino, in essence, the way he wrote it was that, Superman, the way he looks at us and imitates us, his representation of us is this dweeb.
Yeah.
Compared to what he really is.
Yeah, he tries to dumb down who he is to fit with the regular human being, which is something that he's learning to do, right?
And at that time, I was like, wow, that is like a really great analogy. And that was when I was living with Moses Olson.
Yeah.
He's a director up in Seattle. He was my roommate. And he was like, no. Because he reads the comic book, all that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, no, Superman is from, like yes, he's an alien, but like he believes like he's one of us.
Yeah.
Like he's a human being. He's human. There's humanness in him. He's not a god who like looks after us benevolent.
Yeah.
The way Zack Snyder kind of showed it.
Yeah.
Like by the time the Snyder movies came out, how was it? 75 years, 80 years of Superman by that point. As a society, we needed a deconstruction Superman.
Yeah.
We needed to look at Superman in a way who a man who was one of us, who was like a god. Like the idea of aliens actually coming to Earth. How would we respond? Because they needed a real world interpretation at that time for us to believe in a Superman in the 2010s, right?
Yeah.
And in this movie, it's just, welcome to this fantasy land.
Yeah.
Where people still read newspapers.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Like, if this is what it is, like, so it's like, and they make a universe like that. Why? Because journalism is like so important in this movie as well.
Same thing with Spider-Man. Spider-Man journalism is huge. It's actually like kind of like the MacGuffin. You know what I mean? It drives everything.
Yeah.
Like the journalism aspect in Spider-Man and Superman, that's kind of where they kind of coincide, like those two films anyways.
Yeah. So this film, I felt like it was a movie we should have got 20, 30 years ago about Superman.
Yeah, first.
That we didn't get.
Yeah.
Before we got a deconstruction. But we've had so many years as a society, we know Superman.
I call it, and for me, it really is the Christopher Nolan effect, right? It's, how he shoots things.
Dark and gritty, the
very
real life. Yeah.
Everything is about realism, right?
Well, it worked for Batman, though, because Batman doesn't have superpowers.
Yeah.
Genius Brain listeners, this podcast is brought to you by BetterHelp. BetterHelp has been a longtime sponsor of this podcast because I really do think that they help me at all times. They're right in my back pocket because guess what? As I said a million times before, you matter. And a place that where a lot of people have been feeling stressed is in the workplace. I always see it all the time. I see it in the tweets. I see it in the Facebook posts. I see it in your daily lives. Well, guess what? You don't have BetterHelp. And if you did, you would understand how good it is to help you battle that work stress. To battle stress, most of us can't wave goodbye to work, but we can start small with the focus on wellness. Sitting in the sun daily, walking on an incline, exercising, or talking to your BetterHelp therapist, whatever that is, BetterHelp is here to navigate your mental health with that. So, as the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/genius. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/genius.
You apply that filmmaking philosophy to Superman, and then you get Man of Steel. Yeah, you get fucking badass Dragon Ball, right? Like the Dragon Ball movie we wanted.
Yeah.
Man of Steel, right? But is that what Superman really is? Like, it is very muted colors.
Yeah.
He has so many like mental battles in like, should I care about these humans or whatever? In this movie, he's like, no, I care about this planet. I care about these people.
Yeah.
I love people.
I think like what I really liked about the film too, what I was just talking about earlier before you came here, was that it really does remind me of kind of like the Batman, right? Where we got to see if you guys don't, obviously you guys know the Batman with fucking Vampire Boy.
Vampire, yeah. Edward Cullen. No, that's his vampire name. What's his name?
What's it, John, again? I forgot.
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah,
Robert
okay.
Pattinson, right?
We're so bad with names.
With Robert Pattinson in that film, like you kind of got to see this Batman that, yeah, it's an origin story, but you get to see, like, nobody becomes Batman the way they are without knowing who they are really, right? So, like, what I mean by that is that Robert Pattinson was this Batman that's like this rich billionaire kid that has all the stuff that wants revenge, but how does he know how to become a superhero, right? And I kind of felt that way with this, where Superman, not exactly like that, but Superman here, you got to see how much his upbringing with his family affects who he is as a person.
That was the important part.
And I really, really like that. It's like, oh, you are this really sweet kid that grew up in the country, in the countryside, that has to code switch to being this superhero.
I don't know, this was a choice. His parents are on the Forrest Gump level of IQ, right? They're very simple people, right? The way they do it. Like, because the way they introduce him, like, Pa Kent is fixing a fucking radio.
Yeah.
And his mom is yelling at the phone on speaker, which, like, what, our old simple parents do.
Yeah.
Right? And the I thought it was a choice, because I really thought, is Pa Kent, like, slow? And because she keeps calling him Mush.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, what? Are they trying to tell us, like, yeah, he's not on the, level?
Yeah. He's my dad.
Yeah, he's like about 70 IQ kind of thing, room temperature IQ. So, but I think that was the point, was just like, what they have to give was like love in the most simplest form, that his space daddy, couldn't give him, you know? But it's because of what he thought his parents, the ideation of what it was. But when it turns out to be a lie, which is another interesting choice, because Superman's biological parents are an important part to his internal being, right? It's a choice to say Jor-El wanted him to rule the earth and have a harem of all that shit. Like, but I thought it works because of how important it is for us to understand Superman assimilating and becoming one of us. Yeah. And like putting it down, like, because at the end we get Lex calling him like, you piece of shit alien.
Yeah.
Mad xenophobic.
Yeah.
And then Superman has like one of his just like, no, god damn it, I'm a human being.
Yeah.
Right? Which is weird, but a deliberate choice because, you know, as a theologian, you learn God is a person.
Yeah.
God has personality and emotions and all these things, right? But then God is not a human being.
Yeah.
You know, and that's theologically, it's just like he's not us kind of thing, right? And for Superman now in that way, even though clearly he's an alien, but fight and say, no, I'm a human being, not I'm a person.
Yeah.
I'm a human being and I'm flawed, all these things. And it's like just written in his character to still have hope for Lex Luthor after he abused his dog, you know, killed his fucking shawarma dude.
Yeah. The stark contrast about this film with which, you know, you kind of hit the nail on the head with that word is that this film compared to the other Superman films is a detraction of what the subject matter is. I feel the other ones were about despair. This film is about hope.
Yeah.
And it's so different.
Very hopeful.
And I will tell you this, that is more true to the comic book if anything else, right? It's always about hope, justice, and everything else. The other one is about internal turmoil and despair, which works with that film style, right? But maybe, I don't know, maybe it's because I grew up watching the cartoon as a kid. You know, the one that was like on WB?
Yeah.
It's the one that was super poppin'. It was the one that we grew up watching, right? It very much reminded me of that cartoon.
Yeah.
And it had the heart of what I grew up with Superman was supposed to be.
Yeah, it allows this universe to be its
Own
itself,
thing. Yeah.
its own thing, like a world where it's just cartoonishly hopeful. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't leave space for us to be like, oh, that's not real. No fucking shit. If you can't get past the fact that this man flies,
Yeah.
you know, and shoots lasers out of his eyes, and then you're concerned about, I don't know, the nature of the world building or whatever, then you've already not bought into it.
Yeah.
Right?
I also really liked the Lex Luthor character a lot.
In this one?
Yeah. And the reason why I liked him a lot, he kind of, I'm not trying to get political, but I'm saying it's what people hate about Trump is Lex Luthor, right? Very self-serving, narcissistic.
Yeah.
In kind of like, and there is no guise. It's everything he's doing is self-serving, right? It's just for him.
Yeah.
Right. And it kind of like that narrative that people have about Trump, it seems very much Lex Luthor-like. And that's probably the most realistic grounding of a person in this comic was the character of Lex Luthor, because I don't necessarily see him as this super villain. You're just this hardcore narcissist jackass, right? That doesn't want somebody to exist that is above him, which is Superman.
See, in the Zack Snyder world with his Lex Luthor, where he chose him to be like a weird Zuckerberg type, Joker-ish thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just the weirdest Lex Luthor.
Nobody has done a good Lex Luthor,
Right.
in my personal opinion, anyways, right? And obviously, this Lex Luthor is a huge detraction from the Lex Luthor that I saw in the cartoons, which is, I think he's like a light-skinned, buff black guy.
Yeah, no, so that's what I was going to say. In that world, I was hoping to see The Rock play Lex Luthor. Because in that world, correct me if I'm wrong, Lex Luthor is like one of the greatest human beings.
Yeah.
Super intelligent, very tall, really buff.
Jack.
Becomes president of the United States.
Yeah.
All of that, right? But he's just not Superman. And that's what makes
Bothers
fucking him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in my fantasy casting, I really kind of wish The Rock played Lex Luthor and just played himself.
Yeah.
But then he would have had to get over his own ego to play a bad guy because he never plays bad guys because fucking Black Adam, the fuck was that shit?
See,
anyway,
But
I'm glad that those bullshit days of DC are over.
Well, they were trying to, with the whole Black Adam thing, they were like, oh, Rock is going to revitalize his franchise, right? And that's literally why they brought him in, right? When Black Adam started, and when this film started, it started so hard and fast, I actually got a little concerned because it reminded me of Black Adam a little bit. Because Black Adam, the best scene in the film was the beginning.
Beginning.
And then you had nothing to look forward to after that. It was such shit after. It didn't make sense. It was such garbage. And so when I saw it start so hard, I was like, oh shit, is it going to be like Black Adam? And it wasn't, thank God, right? But Black Adam was such a disappointment, right? I didn't even pay for it. I watched it on streaming. And I was like, what a waste of money. And it was free.
That was not even worth my subscription.
I know. I'm like, what the fuck was this shit, dude?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I'm kind of glad that they're starting fresh now because DC needs to be saved. I mean, obviously James Gunn seems to be the savior.
Yeah.
Right? He seems to get it, especially with his humor. And I think the lighthearted humor in this film too is very much needed because that's in comic books, jokes.
I think that's going to be the success of DC in the future. Is that James Gunn is a fucking filmmaker.
Yeah.
The director before he's a producer.
Yeah.
And he's the fucking Kevin Feige of DC now.
Yeah.
Right? So when he's going to review every single script, he's going to script doctor probably a lot of the shit too. And to say like, is this a good movie? Is this a good storytelling thing? Or is it going to be like the way Disney looks over MCU and be like, make sure we have all the colors of, every skin tone in this movie and have these things and make sure this is that and make sure whatever these, and then you get a very corporatized movie now.
Yeah.
The soul of the movie, which was something like an Iron Man, doesn't exist in the MCU anymore.
Yeah.
But then if this is the soul of the DC for the future, there's like a lot of good things to look forward to.
This is so cool, especially for the DC universe, because now we have somebody who is a director that actually has creative control and power, right? Because James Gunn has now positioned himself within this universe to where he probably has to go through less red tape than other people because he doesn't have to prove himself now.
Yeah.
He is a brand now.
Yeah.
So when people hear James Gunn is going to do something, people automatically buy tickets. Because before, what happens like when you're a new director or you're the new kid in town, everything is like, if you do that, don't do this, don't do that. And you kind of have to play along.
Yeah.
Because they have your career in their hands. With James Gunn, he can go fucking anywhere and anybody would love to take his projects.
Yeah.
So if they say to James Gunn, we don't want this, this, and that, which there will obviously be pushbacks, but I'm pretty sure if he puts his foot down and says this is what it needs to be, he could say that now.
Yeah.
Because you can't fuck with him now, right? He clearly has a winning formula, or he understands his projects. And I think a lot of like directors and creatives do. It's just the red tape is where it gets in the way.
I think this is like a good start to, if this is a new Hollywood model, not a franchise comic book model.
Yeah.
Because, the studios were birthed by directors, the creatives, people who were filmmakers, right? And then when they got old as shit and they were dying, in the 70s and 80s, someone else had to take over. What was it? Nepotism.
Yeah.
Business people, lawyers, the CEOs, someone who came from Pepsi to become the CEO of a fucking studio for some reason.
Yeah.
That shit happens because, this guy's going to make the money or whatever.
Yeah.
So the heads of the studio stopped becoming the creatives.
Yeah.
And it became about the cash. And that's where blockbusters were born, right? The byproduct of all that. But then what you see is like the soul of filmmaking dead and left to studios like A24.
Yeah.
And this, having a creative be the head of a franchise studio,
You get a better product.
is a new step towards getting creatives to become the CEOs,
Yeah.
creatives to lead these studios.
And there's this huge. It's weird, right? Because Disney Animation, Pixar, all these people, they're kind of going through their woes right now because. So, for example, Elio tanked.
Yeah.
So I didn't even hear about it. Which
There's
is
no marketing.
Zero
What the
marketing.
fuck is going on?
And what they're saying too, which I could be wrong, but people are saying, well, if you want original content, go ahead and support it. I didn't even know it existed. There was no marketing. Bring it to the plate.
You know what it is too? I think we're tired of that bean mouth animation.
Yes.
Because, dude, Spider-Verse and Sony Animation and all that shit, they're leading the fucking game with how they animate. And there's a fucking style now.
Yeah.
Pixar is still doing their aesthetic, which is kind of, like I said, before Spider-Verse. Just that look where you couldn't tell if it was a Pixar, Disney, DreamWorks. They're all the same they all look the same. They'll just call it a Pixar film.
Yeah,
Remember that?
yeah,
If it was a 3D animated movie,
Pixar.
they'd just say a Pixar, kind of like a Xerox instead of a photocopy. But now with, like we said, Sony making a distinctive animation style and aesthetic to their look, Disney with some of their films now are moving towards a more aesthetic look. You saw the Wild Robot have its aesthetic.
I fucking loved Wild Robot.
Yeah, and
dude.
Pixar is still,
Yeah.
the way it looks. Then I think it's just people are like over that shit.
Yeah.
Possibly, yeah.
Because I just watched, I heard about Wild Robot, especially because it had a lot of accolades, and I just kind of ignored it for some reason.
Same.
And then I watched it on Netflix recently, and I was like, "Damn, this is good."
See, I was trying to watch it in theaters, and then I never even got around to watching it while it's on Netflix. I gotta watch it.
You gotta watch it. It's actually original content idea, really fucking good, dude.
Yeah.
It kind of took me aback how good it was. I was like, damn, I haven't seen something like this in a while.
Yeah, as I saw the trailer, something in me felt like, yo, this movie looks like it has so much soul.
It has a lot of heart, a lot of soul. The voice acting in it is amazing. The humor is great. The story is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's classic like 2D animation type heart and feel to the story, which I think a lot of people have like detracted from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And making like these animated films, granted, is very hard, right? Creating original ideas, things that aren't like redundant, have already been done before. And I don't even think that should be something that like when people create these things, like you have to worry about, because children's stories too, they're all pretty much the same, right? It's just what's your spin on it.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with these like animated films. It's going to have the same beginning, middle, and end basically, right? And it's going to wrap up in this nice little neat little bow where people can walk away with the moral of the story, right? It's just how you do it that matters. And I think Wild Robot really did that very well. And it kind of reminded me of these like 2D films that made me really love what Disney had to offer at the time. And I think Wild Robot did that.
Going back to Superman, do you have any nitpicks, things you didn't like? I'm getting a little wary of these crazy wide angle lenses.
I would say, I mean, for me, this is very nitpicky.
Yeah.
And I know like the bright coloring is all there. I didn't like the coloring as much just because of the tone. It's very blue sometimes, very blue and green. I just didn't like it. But that's a taste preference.
Yeah, that's
thing.
very...
very particular, right? And you and I have talked about this too. That fisheye, wide-eye bubble shit, I kind of don't like it as much.
Yeah. Why has it become the comic book live action
I don't know.
anime look?
Yeah.
Like I can't. I'm not. Well, he was doing it since Guardians.
Yeah.
So I don't know that. But that's also had been his DP since Guardians 2, and Guardians 2 is when all that wide angle shit was started. And so I mean, and he used that same DP in Peacemaker. Oh, by the way, Peacemaker cameo.
Yeah.
So apparently, in the next Peacemaker season coming up, he's coming into this Superman universe.
Whoa, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. So that's going to be an interesting season this year. Of
That might
Peacemaker.
change up the whole tone of Peacemaker, though.
Yeah.
Because Peacemaker kind of lives in the more realism.
Ish. No, I think Peacemaker opened up because he was birthed out of the not exactly the Snyderverse, because they rebooted the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
And that James Gunn world was still very comic booky because he, like Polka Dot Man.
Yeah.
He loves these weird, obscure characters. The way he brought this character, Mr. Terrific,
Oh, yeah.
out of just obscurity to,
Which I've never heard of that superhero character before, but hilarious.
yeah, hilarious, great character. I mean, James Gunn is really good at the bottom, like finding the bottom of the barrel characters that nobody gives a shit about. So apparently he's gonna make a Swamp Thing movie that's gonna be just horror.
Swamp Thing.
Yeah, he's gonna make a horror Swamp Thing movie.
Damn, Swamp Thing is one of those, like, even for comic book fans, that was
80s shit.
Yeah,
like-
that was an obscure. I had Swamp Thing comic books.
Yeah.
Right, and it was from my cousin.
Yeah.
Right, but it had like a small little bit of fandom at the time, or from my perspective when I was really young.
He's like an environmentalist, right?
Yeah, it's really obscure.
Yeah.
Right. I can't believe he's gonna make a Swamp Thing.
Yeah, he likes crazy. Come on, man. If he made Polka Dot Man work, right?
Yeah.
He made Mr. Terrific work to his Guy Gardner, the fucking Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Like that, the way he did the character to be such a dick, like in a hilarious way, because when Superman first finds out the message from his parents was like not what he thought it was.
Yeah.
And he goes to take a breather on his own, right? And then Green Lantern comes in and does a cool thing to make a private space, but the first thing he says is like, "Hey man, you have a harem?"
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? What? You got a secret group of hoes like in the back? You didn't tell me?
Yeah.
That just reminds me of just like, that's what you're concerned about, bro?
Yeah. The humor, I mean, when I knew James Gunn was going to do this, I knew the humor was going to be on point. Yeah. And I think it was scattered throughout the film very well. You know, obviously, you know, the critiques that I had about James Gunn and, you know, some of his films was that the humor was almost too much, right? It was...
I mean, it's got that going on, like where you throw as many jokes as you can.
Yeah.
You're gonna have laughs.
Yeah.
Right. But then, some of them were just.
Yeah. This one wasn't as bad, right? Yeah. So that's probably my only the only caveat that I have with James Gunn, especially because when he did what's it called? What was the last film that he did that I watched that he did? Fucking Love and Thunder.
You know, he
didn't do Love and Thunder. What's the fucking? I'm fucking running a blank. I'm sorry. I've been on a plane.
It's just he did Guardians and Peace.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Suicide
Not
Squad.
Love and Thunder, fucking Guardians.
Yeah.
Right, when he did Guardians, like Guardians is really funny, right? But sometimes with Guardians, the story would go, something's happening, and a random joke would pop through, and it just kept resetting me over. And I'm like, I was just getting into it, and a random joke, and then there would just be this aside of jokes that just kept happening, and it kept interrupting the film constantly.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what Guardians started going into, and I started not liking it as much because I think placement of jokes is very, very fucking important. It's not that the jokes aren't funny; it's just the placement was off, and it was just too saturated, and I didn't like that. But I thought in the Superman it was great. I thought it worked out very well.
I think because the world allows it to be. Because I think once again, everyone keeps reading newspapers in this world.
Yeah.
So every time I saw that was me just allowing myself to be immersed into a world that allows a certain type of behavior in a sense. But then also it was important when Lois and Superman were having that conversation about, and then in his apartment, and he's going to go turn himself in.
Yeah.
Right. And then Lois like advises against it, but then he's doing it for the dog.
Yeah.
Because he's alone. He's probably scared. And then Lois looks at him like, "Oh, you're so simple too."
Yeah.
Right. And at the end, I don't know if this is on purpose, but you got the Ultraman Superman clone. I don't know if that was supposed to be Bizarro or not. I don't think so. It's just Ultraman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He says brain versus bronze, repeating back Lex's thing, right? Brains beats bronze.
Yeah.
To the point that he's saying, like, this clone Superman is so dumb, my dog's gonna beat him up.
Yeah. I really liked the super dog too.
Yeah.
Because that's also something that really humanized.
That allows the world to be. There's a flying fucking dog, okay? Like, allow it to be this. And it's great and it's fun. Yeah. Like, and if you're sitting there like, how can a dog fly? Then whatever. Oh, the dog's CGI. And no shit.
Yeah.
Whatever.
But also too, just, you have to suspend your fucking like disbelief because it's a superhero film.
Yeah.
Like once again, if you're judging this with the lens of the superhero films that you have seen in the recent years because of that trend of making it really realistic, you have to throw that away. You have to watch this film for what it is and then kind of judge it from that, right? Because for me, I mean, I felt like the trailers did a good job of kind of setting people's expectations. So when I read some of the critiques, it's like, you went in with a different expectation even after seeing the fucking trailer? Are you stupid? Like, you might be dumb.
You just want to hate.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah.
You might be dumb then.
For me, I don't understand how you can look at this and be like, not my Superman. I don't think that's what's going on. This movie is doing so fucking well. It made back its budget this weekend.
Yeah.
So it's I think it's
all
gonna
up
do
and
a
up
billion.
There.
Yeah.
100%. It's gonna do fucking amazing too. Has it had an international release yet? Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
Yeah. So domestically it was like 120 million. And then, around the world, it was like another 100-something million.
And getting people to go to the theaters now is so much harder. Mm-hmm. So when you see these numbers, it's really, really fucking impressive because, people are going to wait for streaming.
And it's also, sometimes when you have something like a Spider-Man or Superman or Batman, it's Superman. People are gonna come watch it.
Yeah.
You know, but then if you have that attitude, then you allow yourself to have a deconstruction Superman who's like really depressed and wonders if he should be helping humanity and stuff.
Yeah, and also too, if you're going to compare to those old Superman films, from what I remember, everybody hated them.
Yeah.
So what are you comparing it to, anyways?
Look, he's just fucking a simple character.
Yeah.
Because he was a man who could fly. So my first introduction to Superman was actually the 50s cartoon. The Max Fleischer cartoons. They were like some of the best.
Oh my
pieces
God, dude.
ever.
I only know a little, once again, because my cousin was
Yeah.
super into comic books. I didn't know they were from the 1950s.
They're old. They're 24p frame, not 12 frames a second. They fucking worked on it. They're some of the greatest pieces of animation out there. My 할머니 had a VHS tape. You know those 30-minute VHSs?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like this thin. But then I watched the shit out of it. It was the only cartoon tape she had at her house when my mom would just draw me on.
Damn, I wonder if they fucking digitize those things.
But most likely. You can probably find a few on YouTube. But yeah, that's how I remember Superman in a sense. And it was so simple and I was such a kid that it's easy to like that, right?
Yeah.
And so growing up, you just like Superman's for kids. Yeah, it's because it's so simple.
Yeah.
And then you get more into the gritty Batman stories. And I think this story is more or less like, hey, you can be a kid.
Yeah.
And like Superman.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great way to start this like entire franchise because you know kids are going to love this Superman. Because after they defeat that kaiju and Superman comes out, what happens? All the kids run to him and hug him. And then the Justice Gang are like, yeah, thanks you, blah, blah, blah. And then when the kids are like literally praying for Superman to come save them, kind of shit, that kind of hope that they're portraying, like, I thought that was like super moving.
Yeah. And it goes back to what I said. Previous films, despair, this is all about hope.
Yeah.
And it really does capture the heart of what Superman is. And you know what? He might have started a trend for new superhero films, kind of going back to this thing.
Yeah.
Right? Where we're not going to go into the dark grittiness of it.
Into the deconstruction of their psyche. And
Which you're right. That works really well for Batman. Just because in the original storyline in and of itself, that kind of is what it is. But you didn't have to do that for Superman.
Yeah.
Right? And I never really thought about it until I saw this film. I was like, I think this is what Superman is. I mean, just from like...
it just feels like if you've never seen like Snyderverse or the Christopher Reeves or all that, and even the Brandon Roush Superman, like this is, for me, the pinnacle of what a Superman content should be. If you're trying to show your kid what Superman is, are you going to show him the Christopher Reeves, like chronologically?
Yeah.
All the way through where he fights the shitty fucking Ultraman in Superman 4 or whatever that was. The guy with the long fingernails, lightning bolts.
Oh my God.
Like, no, it's not worth it. Like,
Yeah.
rest in peace, Christopher Reeves, but, you know.
Wheelchair Superman is very different. Well, guys, let us know what you think about the Superman film. I'm actually very curious. If you haven't watched this, then I guess I didn't really spoil much things, right? If you didn't watch it
We spoiled a bunch, but...
Yeah, all right, whatever.
How about this? At the end, it was also important that when, in the beginning, he watches the message from his Kryptonian parents because it soothes him. And at the end, the robots turn on the message for his parents because it soothes him. And it's Ma and Pa Kent.
Yeah.
From good old Kansas.
Well, let us know what you guys thought about the film. We haven't done a movie review in a very, very long time. I hope you guys enjoyed that. You can catch Genius Brain every Sundays at 12 p.m. You can catch Ed at Ed Park VP and also Manga Miata. And we'll see you all next time. Every Sundays, everybody. Peace.
Peace.